Your phone buzzes at 11:14 p.m. Your portfolio just crossed $40,000. You have 23 unread messages in the group chat. New cars, new apartments, weekend plans. Nobody in that chat knows what you just saw. Nobody knows you've been investing for 3 years. Nobody knows you're quietly winning. And one day, you'll figure out, escaping the rat race doesn't look like success. It looks like you just standing there, doing nothing interesting. You're 24. You share an apartment with 2 other people. 1 bathroom. A kitchen where someone always leaves dishes in the sink. Your bedroom door doesn't lock all the way. Your take-home is $2,140 a month. You know this number the way you know your own name. It lands every 2 weeks. It leaves faster than it arrives. Not on anything crazy. Rent is $780. Your share. Car insurance is $94. Subscriptions you signed up for and forgot about are somewhere around $60 a month. You've never actually added them up. You don't want to. You fill your gas tank $20 at a time, not because 20 is the plan, because you don't want to watch the total climb past that. Small thing, nobody notices but you. Your coworker Marcus just leased a car. Black. 36 months. He says the payment is nothing. Just like that. Nothing. You do the math in your head. Nothing is $412 a month. You don't say anything. You nod. It starts with an email. HR sent it in October. Subject line. Your 2024 benefits enrollment. Action required. You almost deleted it. You'd seen 3 of these and never read past the first paragraph. This time you do. Buried on page 2, in a font smaller than everything else, is 1 sentence. The company matches your 401k contributions up to 4% of your salary. You read it again. You've been at this job 14 months. 14 months of free money sitting on a table you never walked up to. It's not quite anger. It's more like finding a 20 in a jacket you wore all winter. Mild. Embarrassing. Real. You enroll that night, 4%. Exactly 4%. Not because you're being strategic, because you're not leaving that match on the table one more day. Then you open a Roth IRA. Takes 22 minutes. Balance is $0. You set a recurring transfer, $150, day after every paycheck. Automated. Gone before you can look at it and decide you need it for something else. That's the whole plan. Not elegant, not optimized, just automatic. Your roommate Jordan is putting down a deposit on his own place next month. First floor, his name on the lease. You can hear the excitement when he talks about it. You don't tell him anything about what you just set up. There's nothing to tell. The Roth has $150 in it. The 401k match hasn't processed yet. You have no story. You have a recurring transfer and a hope the math works out the way articles say it does. Marcus asks if you're coming out Friday. You say maybe. You go home. You eat at the kitchen table and read about index funds for an hour. Not because it's exciting, because you want to understand the thing you just signed up for. The expense ratio matters. You switch to a total market index fund, 0.03%. You close the laptop. You go to bed. Nobody noticed. That was fine. There was nothing to notice yet. Same job, same apartment, same 2 roommates, different dishes in the same sink. You got a raise, $2,000 a year. After taxes, that's $167 extra a month. You don't upgrade anything. You raise the transfer to $200. You bump the 401k 1%. The lifestyle doesn't move. Portfolio crosses $15,000 on a Tuesday morning. You're brushing your teeth when the notification comes. You look at it for 3 seconds. Phone goes in your pocket. You go to work. Nobody asks. Nobody knows. The number lives in an app and nowhere else. That month something happens that no one warned you about. The market returns more than you deposited. Not by much. $43 more. But it's the first time the account grew from something you didn't earn at a job. You read the statement twice, not from excitement, more like suspicion. You put in 200. The account grew by 243. The 43 didn't come from overtime, didn't come from a side hustle, didn't come from anyone giving you anything. It just came from waiting. You sit with that for a moment. Then you close the app and make coffee. Jordan's birthday dinner is on a Saturday. Long table, 10 people. The question goes around the way it always does. So what are you working toward? Marcus just got promoted. Jordan bought real furniture for his apartment. The question reaches you. You say things are good. You smile in the right place. The conversation moves to the next person in under 4 seconds. You know what you've built. You know what 2 years of saying no actually adds up to. But I have $15,000 compounding in a tax-advantaged account doesn't fit the table. It doesn't fit whatever scoreboard everyone's using tonight. So you split the check evenly and drive home alone. It's not loneliness exactly. It's more like standing slightly outside a room you used to be in. Not locked out, just outside. By choice. The choice still makes sense. Sense and comfort aren't the same thing though. You have $9,000 in a high-yield savings account, 4.6% APY. It earns while you sleep. Not a lot, enough. 3 months of expenses exactly. You built it on purpose after reading one article about layoffs in your industry at midnight and not being able to stop thinking about it. The article was from 3 years ago. Didn't matter. That's the emergency fund. Not exciting. Not something you bring up at dinner, just a number that exists in case the world decides to be inconvenient on a Thursday. In February, the market drops. Real correction. 12% in 6 weeks. Portfolio goes from 19,000 to 16,800 on paper. 16.4, 16.1, 15.9. Your hand moves toward the sell button once. Not dramatically, the way your hand moves towards snooze before you're fully awake. Instinct before thought. You put the phone face down. You don't sell, not because you're brave. Because 3 months earlier, you spent 2 hours reading about what actually happens to people who sell during corrections. You read the numbers. You saw what accounts looked like 12 months later. People who held versus people who didn't. You knew what you owned. That's the only reason it worked. The $200 transfer goes out that month, same day, same amount. That $200 buys more shares than it did in January because prices are lower. You don't celebrate this. You just continue. Marcus posts a photo Sunday afternoon. New car. Different model. Lease was up, he says in the caption. Upgrade time. 14 comments in the first hour. Bro is living, clean, goals. You look at the photo longer than you want to admit. Not because you want the car, you've thought about it enough to know it's not the car. It's the 14 people who saw something and said something. It's the feeling that a life is visible, that it registers. Your portfolio sitting at $17,200 does not give you that. It just sits there, growing, quietly, for an audience of one. Market recovers by October. Portfolio hits 21,000. The shares you bought during the drop are now worth more than you paid. What you did in February paid off in October. It does this every time. You'll forget this every time. The forgetting is fine as long as the behavior doesn't change. Email arrives 9:17 Thursday morning. Subject line, important company announcement, please read. You know before you open it. Everyone on the floor knows. There's a specific silence right before something like this. Like the building is holding its breath. Half the floor by lunch. You carry a cardboard box to your car. It's not heavy. That's the part that stays with you. 3 years at a desk and it fits in one box without effort. Marcus is in the parking lot when you get there. Jordan is 2 cars down. Same box, same expression, same Thursday. By 2 in the afternoon, the calls start. Marcus calls his bank to defer the car payment. They say yes. What the bank doesn't say out loud is that the interest keeps running. Every month he defers, the balance grows in a direction he's not watching. He feels relieved. He probably should feel something else. Jordan puts rent on a credit card, 22.99% APR. He tells himself it's temporary. He's right that it's temporary. He's wrong about how long temporary lasts. You sit at your kitchen table with your laptop. You open the savings account. $9,400. The number you built for exactly this, for a Thursday like this one, for a box that weighs nothing. You run the numbers. Rent, utilities, groceries, gas, minimum on everything else. 9 months. Not 9 months of comfort. 9 months of runway. 9 months where you don't have to say yes to the wrong thing out of panic. Where you get to be selective instead of desperate. You close the laptop. You make a sandwich. You eat it standing at the counter. That night your phone buzzes. Venmo notification. Jordan requesting $28 for dinner last Saturday. You pay it immediately. 3 minutes later, Jordan again. Hey man, any chance you could cover this month's utilities until I get back on my feet? You sit with that for a while. The amount isn't the issue, it's what the message means. Jordan has no runway. He has a credit card at 22.99 and a deferred rent payment, and he's texting a friend at 9:17 on a Thursday night. You send the money. You don't make it a thing. But you think about it, the distance between 9 months of runway and 0 months. You and Jordan made within $4,000 of each other for 3 years. The distance is one recurring transfer Jordan never set up. That's it. You find the next job in 11 weeks. You turn down one offer in week 4. The title was fine. The manager said something in the interview that you recognized. You said no thank you. You'd never been able to do that before in your life. Marcus took the first offer he got. Week 2. 15% below his old salary. He needed to. The car payment couldn't wait. Jordan took a contract role, no benefits, hourly. He needed something faster than a full-time search could move. You took 11 weeks, 8% above your old salary. Same layoff, same Thursday. 3 completely different experiences of the exact same event. Your own apartment, finally. 1 bedroom. A kitchen where the dishes in the sink are always your dishes. A door that locks all the way. You lock it twice the first night, just because you can. New job pays $68,000. You raise the transfer to $300. Bump the 401k to 8%. Portfolio crosses $50,000 on a Wednesday afternoon. Net worth closing in on $80,000. You look at the number. You close the app. You make dinner. 3 weeks in, your bank calls. Not automated. A person. Direct line. 15 minutes to discuss your financial goals. You stand in your kitchen thinking about the last time this bank called you. They didn't. Not once in 7 years. They sent a letter about a fee increase. That was the whole relationship. Same bank that charged you $12 a month because your balance wasn't high enough to waive the fee is now calling to offer things. Nothing changed except the number. That's the whole thing. Here's the part nobody warns you about. You're not struggling. You're not rich. You're somewhere in the middle of a long climb with no marker on the wall. And the middle is the loneliest part. You can't talk to Marcus about expense ratios. You tried once at lunch, kept it vague. His eyes didn't go cold, they went distant. Like he'd started talking about a room he'd never been in. You changed the subject. Haven't brought it up since. And you can't talk to people further along either. You're not at that table yet. No group chat for the person quietly building something that doesn't have a photo yet. No fire emojis for the month. The portfolio grew $800 while you slept. You're not rich. You're not struggling. The gap is quiet. The gap is uncomfortable. The gap is also, you're starting to figure out where the actual work happens. You don't see it coming. Nobody does. Bull markets don't announce themselves. January, portfolio at 62,000. March, 71,000. August, 84,000. December, 86,000. You open the spreadsheet New Year's Eve. You look at the returns column, $24,000. You read it again. $24,000, not from your salary, not from your monthly transfer, from the shares you bought quietly month after month that for 8 years, compounding into each other while you were living your life. Your job paid you $68,000 that year. The portfolio paid you $24,000. You get it now, not as a concept you've read about, but actually in your body. The compounding eventually stops needing you to feed it. It starts generating on its own. And 1 year, without warning, it shows you what it's been doing the whole time. You close the laptop, you don't tell anyone. You go to bed. Portfolio crosses 100,000 on a Monday morning in March. You're on the subway, notification at 7:42. You look at it, you look up at the other passengers. The man across from you is asleep. The woman beside you has her eyes closed. The train moves through the dark and the number sits in your pocket and nothing changes. You thought you'd feel different. There's no signal, just a notification, just a Monday. Your dad calls on a Tuesday night in October. He sounds fine at first, the way people sound fine when they're working up to something. You talk about nothing for 4 minutes. Then, he tells you, not serious. That's the first thing he says. But they want to run more tests. Something on a scan. Probably nothing. He uses the word probably 3 times. You book the flight that night. No sale alert, no flexible dates. Just the flight that gets you there fastest. You sit in the hospital waiting room for 2 days, and the thing you notice, sitting there with bad coffee and fluorescent lights. The logistics don't break you. The flight didn't break you. The hotel didn't break you. Taking 4 days off didn't spiral into a panic about money. You're just there. Present. Because the money handled every problem that money can handle. That's more than you expected. And less than you hoped. Because your dad is scared and you can see it under all the probably nothing. And there is no account balance that touches that. The money bought you the ability to be there. That matters more than you can explain to someone who has ever had to choose between showing up and being able to afford to show up. But the fear in your eyes when you look at his face, that's just there. And no number handles it. The tests come back clean. You fly home Sunday, you look at the portfolio, it grew while you were gone. Of course it did. Net worth crosses 150,000 on a Friday afternoon. You're at your desk, same coffee mug, same view of the parking lot. You look at the notification. You put the phone face down. You finish the email. That evening you open the spreadsheet. 11 years of monthly entries, contributions on one side, returns on the other. The returns column is bigger than the contributions column now. The portfolio is adding more each month than you put in. You put in 350. It added more than that on its own last month and the month before. You are almost a passenger now. Marcus finds you in the parking lot on a Wednesday. He falls into step beside you, quieter than usual. The way people get when they've been sitting on something and finally decided to say it. He lowers his voice slightly. Hey man, how did you actually do it? You stop walking. The honest answer is, nothing you did was impressive. No moment, no pivot, no secret, no right time you waited for. You opened an account at 24, set a transfer you couldn't feel, didn't sell when it dropped, didn't upgrade when you got raises, said no to things that didn't compound, said yes to things that did. Repeated that for 11 years, while everyone around you played a different game. That's the whole answer. It sounds too small for the distance it creates, but it's accurate. You tell him. One recurring transfer, day after payday, before rent, before anything else. Don't touch it. Don't stare at it. Don't stop when the market drops. Don't upgrade every time your income goes up. Just keep feeding it. Every month, without stopping. Marcus nods slowly. He pulls out his phone, opens his banking app, stares at the screen. Balance, $2,341. Credit card, $18,900. Car loan, $31,000. He stares at it the way you stared at your own numbers 11 years ago in a kitchen with dishes in the sink. Then he opens a new tab. How to open a Roth IRA. You don't say anything. You let him find it himself. You drive home. Same car since 26. 112,000 miles. Runs fine. You pass the dealership on the way. New models in the lot, the kind that gets comments. You don't slow down, not because you can't afford it. Because at some point you stopped needing the comments to feel like you were doing okay. The scoreboard everyone else was playing by was never the one that was counting. The game that mattered had no audience, no leaderboard, no fire emojis, just a number in an app. Growing quietly, for 11 years, while everyone was watching something else. Somewhere right now someone is sitting in their car in a parking lot. Not going anywhere, just sitting. They just downloaded their pay stub. First real job, $2,140 after taxes. It feels like enough. It also feels like it disappears before they can do anything. They open their phone. Search how to start investing with no money. They read for 4 minutes. They close the tab. They open Instagram. Marcus just posted something. They double tap. Phone goes in pocket. They start the car. They don't know yet that the 4 minutes they just closed was the answer. They don't know that the account they almost opened pays for itself 1,000 times over if you just don't close the tab. They don't know that winning looks from the outside exactly like standing still. They pull out of the parking lot. Nobody noticed. Not when you opened the account. Not when you skipped the upgrade. Not when you bought the dip. Not when you crossed 6 figures. Nobody noticed. Until one day someone looked at your life and asked, "How did you get here?" And the answer was the same as it always was. One small decision, repeated for 11 years.